We have been using this function since the very first tutorial of this series, but never talked about it. So let's discuss it today. What's up internet, I am Manish from rebellionwriter.com and I am back once again with another awesome Python tutorial. In today's video, we will learn the concept of Python print function with easy examples. But before we start, give this video a thumbs up. Also, help me in reaching 100k subscribers by subscribing to my channel if you haven't already. Now let's start. Python print is a simple program which displays text back to the user on the standard output string. Print used to be a statement in Python 2, but with the launch of Python 3, this became a function. In Python 2, if we have to display a string back to the user, we have to write the print statement something like this. But this will not work if you are using the latest version of Python, which is Python 3. You will get a syntax error, something like this. This is because Python print is no longer a statement in Python 3. This has become a function and we have to call it in a proper function way, where we have a function name along with parentheses which are holding some arguments, something like this. Except from added parentheses, everything is pretty much the same. Python print function call, which you are watching right now on your screen, is the only valid function call in Python 3. That is just the introduction. Now let's start the tutorial. The Python print function call we have seen or written so far in this entire series are running pretty much on default settings. You can override these default settings and do certain amount of formatting with your output if you know the syntax. So let's check out the syntax. Right on your screen is the syntax of Python print function. This simple looking print function takes 5 arguments. Let's see what these are. Object. Object is something you want to display back to the user on a standard output stream. It could be a string, an integer, value derived from an expression, or anything. Furthermore, you can use a single Python print function call to show more than one object at once. Let me show you. Let's first close this output panel and clear the screen. Great. Okay, in this statement, the string "What's up internet" is the object. In this function call, we used only one object, which is the mentioned string. But we can use single Python print function call to display more than one object, like this. Here we have a single print function call, but using that we are showing two string objects to the user. On execution, both these objects will be printed on the screen separated by a blank space. Let's see. Here I mentioned blank space for a reason. I'll explain to you in a second, but for now let's concentrate here. In order to take advantage of other parameters of the print function call, make sure to separate all the objects using commas. If you want, you can ditch the comma. There will be no problem as long as the object you are displaying is a string. Let me show you what happens if there is no comma. Let's execute and see the result. As you can see, although the Python print function displayed the result, but not in the proper manner. We have both the objects printed, but the blank space in between, which was separating them, is missing. Here the print function concatenated both the strings into each other before displaying it to you. Now, what if the objects were mathematical expressions instead of a string? Will skipping a comma still work? Let's see. Here I have Python print function call containing two simple mathematical expressions. Both these expressions are separated by a comma. Let's execute and see the result. Here we got a valid output. 5 plus 5 evaluated into 10 and 2 into 2 evaluated into 4. Now let's delete the comma and see what happens. Let's execute again. We got a syntax error. Python interpreter usually evaluates the mathematical expressions specified in print function call and then print their result. Here to our eyes we have two expressions, but for Python interpreter there is only one expression which is missing a mathematical operator between them. Hence we have this error. Now let's come back to our syntax. The next argument is sep. Sep is an acronym for separator. This is the string which will get placed between two objects. We just saw its example when we specified two string objects separated by comma. Then as a result we got both the strings printed and both are separated by a blank space. The default value of sep is set to blank space. That is why both the objects in our example were printed with a blank space between them. We can change this default value. Let's say I want my objects to be separated by something else than a blank space. Let's see how we can do that. Let's close this output panel and clear the screen first. Done. If we execute this print function call now, then both the strings will get printed with a blank space between them in the result. Now let's override the default setting. Now if we execute this print statement, then both the string objects will get printed. But this time the separator which will be placed between them will not be a blank space, rather it will be a triplet of greater than sign. To change the separator, firstly you have to put a comma after your objects, then you have to write the keyword sep. Mind here, the keyword sep is case sensitive, which is why you have to make sure that it must be written in all small letters. Followed by the keyword, you have to specify your desired string which you want to place between the objects. This string must be enclosed inside a pair of quotes. It could be a single quote or a double quote. Let's execute this Python print function call and see the result. As you can see, this time both the strings are separated by a triplet of greater than sign instead of blank space. Except from strings, you can also specify escape sequences such as /n for new line or /t for a tab. Let's modify this print statement and change the separator string with /t. Done. Now on execution, a horizontal tab will separate both these string objects instead of a single space. Let's execute and check. Here is the desired result. Now let's see what is the third parameter on the list. The third parameter of Python print function is AND. AND is again a string which gets inserted at the end of the compiled text of Python print function call. By compiled text I mean the end result derived either after evaluating the expression or processing the objects like integer or string. By default it is set on /n escape sequence, which is an indicator for next line. Let's see what exactly does it mean. Let's close this output panel and clear the screen. By the way, if you want the code which I showed you in this tutorial for practice, then you can always head over to my blog. Link is in the description. Here I have two consecutive Python print function calls. First one contains a mathematical expression, while the second one contains a string. Now let's execute and see how the output will come. Here we got the output. The result of the expression is printed in the first line and then the string in the next line. The output of the second print function call is printed in a new line. That is because of the default behavior of the AND parameter. Now let's override this default behavior and see if we can display the output of two different print functions in a same line. Here is our first print function call. I will modify it and change the value of AND parameter from /n to /t. Done. As you can see, I have changed the value of AND parameter in the first statement from /n to /t. Because of that, the interpreter will not jump to a new line for printing the output of the consecutive statement. Rather, it will print the output from the following statement in the same line. Because of the /t escape sequence, it will separate the output of both the statements with a horizontal tab. Let's execute and see. Here is the output in the modified format. Great. Now let's see what is the next parameter in the syntax of Python print function. The next two parameters are file and flush. In order to discuss these two parameters, we need to do a separate tutorial. That way we can keep things confusion free. Therefore, I will cover them in the next tutorial. Anyways, please do read the corresponding blog for more in-depth knowledge of the topic. Link is in the description. Hope this video helped you in learning the concepts of Python print function. If you enjoyed watching, please give this video a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Most importantly, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thanks for watching. This is Manish from rebellionwriter.com.